На неделе вы говорили, что можете дать томагавки.
Знаете, что мне надо идти?
На неделе вы
The other week you said you might give tomahawks.
говорили, что можете дать томагавки.
Знаете, что
You
мне
know what I have? You know what? I have to go.
надо идти, сейчас летит.
Because the plane is going to take off. You heard a question about providing
возможную передачу Киеву крылатых
Tomahawk cruise missiles to
ракет
Kyiv.
«Томагавк», Трамп вспоминает, что ему
Trump remembered he should sit down and buckle up
нужно сесть в свое кресло и пристегнуть ремни перед
before takeoff.
взлетом. Планы принять
The US president confirmed the plans
Зеленского в Вашингтоне
to
президент
host Zelensky in Washington.
США подтвердил.
Are you hosting Zelensky at the White House?
Вы примете Зеленского в Белом доме в пятницу.
Да, я
Have a good time. Thank you, everybody. Why even promise the tomahawks if it's gonna end like this? Why even do it? That Trump's not a very good deal maker.
провести время.
Зеленскому придется ждать
Zelensky will have to wait for the US missiles
американских ракет
for
по-настоящему
a really long time.
долго. В арсеналах
Currently, there are 150 Tomahawk missiles
Пентагона прямо сейчас.
in
4150
the Pentagon's arsenal.
томагавков, еще 57
57 more missiles will go into service in 2026.
станут на вооружение в 2026 году. По информации
According to the information of the Financial Times,
Financial Times,
Kyiv can count only on a symbolic number of missiles.
рассчитывать на символическую партию, которая не
That won't change the situation on the front line.
изменит ситуацию на войне.
Дональд Трамп, мы
With
наблюдаем
great curiosity, we are observing.
за этим процессом с большим
If it's only a symbolic number that won't change anything, then why is Russia scrambling to threaten all possible horrible outcomes if the US does provide those Tomahawk missiles? I think the Russian media even said that Poland should be bombed. Poland should be attacked if Ukraine gets Tomahawk missiles.
людством купается
Donald Trump swimming in the rays of his own glory.
в лучах собственной славы. Он считает себя
He considers himself a victor and said he will now start
победителем, объявил о том, что приступит
working on a resolution of another war
к решению
because he already stopped 1 million wars, or at least 7, as he likes to claim.
разрешению остановки новой войны, на
This time, the Ukrainian one.
этот раз украинской. Сам
He's
просматривает
looking through the newspapers,
газеты, листает
flipping through the pages of the press.
прессу, с критикой обрушился.
This
Это
is funny to no end. He lashed out with criticism.
максимально смешной эпизод на издание
Why is
Time.
that funny? Against Time magazine.
Там опубликовали его
They
огромный
published a huge portrait of him.
портрет с благодарностью
With
Трампа
gratitude to Trump for being a victor on this planet.
за то, что он победитель на этой планете, но Трампу не понравилось.
But Trump did not like the picture. I will admit that it is a little bit of a bizarre picture. I will say that. It is a bit of a strange picture, I will admit.
Фотография. Смотрим.
Журнал Time написал.
Time magazine wrote a relatively good story about me, but the picture may be the worst of all time. They disappeared my hair and then had something floating on top of my head. They looked like a floating crown, but an extremely small one. I deserve a big crown, a king like me. I'm the biggest king in the history of the world. I'm the most powerful leader of the most powerful country in the history of the world. I deserve a big crown. Really weird. I never like taking pictures from underneath angles, but this is super bad. This is a super bad picture. The worst picture than you have ever seen in your entire lives. There could not have been a worse picture and deserves to be called out. What are they doing and why?
Довольно хорошую статью обо мне, но фотография, возможно, худшая за все времена. Они спрятали мои волосы, а затем поместили что-то парящее на макушке. Корона, но крайне маленькая. Действительно странно. Нравилось фотографироваться снизу, но это супер плохое фото и заслуживает того,
I'm not even trying to read it in a Trump voice.
чтобы его раскритиковали. Что они делают и зачем?
Сделаем вывод, что господин Трампа
We can draw a conclusion.
не устраивает размер
That
короны,
Mr. Trump is displeased with the size of the crown. Wow.
который образовался у него на голове,
That's turned up on his head.
на обложке
On the cover of the most liberal democratic
либеральнейшего демократического журнала Time,
Time magazine, which is itself is surprising.
что само по себе удивительно, но тем не менее
Nonetheless, even the Democrats are talking
говорят о триумфе даже
about his
демократы.
triumph.
И Байден похвалил
Biden praised Trump for making the Gaza deal.
Трампа за сделку по Газе, но
We'll see how things will develop there. Oh, I see that Russia is skeptical about the ceasefire holding.
там будут развиваться события. Нас сейчас
Right now,
волнуют совершенно
we're concerned about completely different events.
иные события.
What
Прошу.
events are you concerned about? Go ahead.
Связанный процесс. Я напоминаю, что Клинтон его позвонил.
About Gaza, even Clinton called and thanked him. Random spooky girl Freepio says, "Did you see Trump say he's not going to heaven? Like, yeah, bro, you're a pedophile." Yeah, I saw him say that. I saw him that he's not really made for heaven.
Звонил, поблагодарил. Конечно, Трамп очень
Trump certainly achieved many very significant things.
многие серьезные достижения обеспечил, это факт.
It's
В ближайшую
in the Middle East negotiations in the next 2 weeks. I mean, he has actually achieved many significant things. For example, he broke the political isolation on Russia by inviting Putin to Alaska and giving him the red carpet treatment. He broke the isolation. So that's an achievement. Sort of, kind of, in a weird, twisted way. He managed to make the United States a laughingstock on the international stage by continuously threatening Putin with consequences if a ceasefire is not reached, and not doing anything and not delivering those consequences, and then turning around and saying, actually, I don't need a ceasefire. I'm okay without a ceasefire. By threatening allies within NATO with invasion, that is an achievement. Oh yeah, and he recently has threatened Spain with sanctions because Spain has announced that it will not be boosting its defense spending to 5%. Random spooky girl Freepio says Trump's biggest achievement is not following Epstein to prison. That is
В общем,
true.
третья основная часть переговорного процесса будет строиться в ближайшие 2 недели. Там самое
The
важное,
most important thing being the status of
статус,
Hamas
прежде всего, Хамас, в какой форме он сохранится.
and in which form it will remain. That is a good question.
Вот, честно говоря, меня еще беспокоит
I'm concerned about the upcoming elections in Israel.
выборы, которые пройдут в Израиле в это, честно,
There
обратная
might be a backlash.
реакция, но мы исходим из того,
The
что,
base position is more or less like this,
Минут
and
между
big development projects are being considered.
впрочем, они то собирают объявления.
Помедленнее.
Talk a bit slower. What? Jesus Christ. What a weird comment to make. You speak too fast. You're a fast speaker. Slow down. Slow down. Be more like Lucy. Be a slower speaker.
Короче, смысл заключается в том, что в ближайшие
Anyway, the main point is that in the next 2 weeks, what the hell was that? Speak slower.
недели определится ситуация.
The
Плюс
situation with Gaza will be more or less addressed.
минус по газе, но мощных
We
выборов
believe that the situation will largely stabilized
в ноябре 26
before the
года
midterm elections in November of 2026.
плюс-минус ситуация стабилизируется. А это
Томагавки.
What about the tomahawks? Most
самоставление.
likely the tomahawks will be provided
Наверное,
Или уже
сейчас
поставлен.
обсуждается,
or already have been provided.
ну, это они еще не
Ранее
They haven't been delivered yet.
мы с вами всегда
We have always proceeded from the notion
исходили из того, что если ведется
that
подробная
if certain weapons are being discussed in
речь
detail,
из Запада,
it means that they're already there.
то значит оно уже
в
там
целом,
у
да, но с
As a whole, yes, but with respect to the tomahawks,
томагавками проблема связана с платформой, с которой
there
они
is a problem with their launch platforms.
запускаются.
Да.
Это
Unlike ATACMS and all the rest.
не атака, не все остальное.
То есть от идеи
So he let go of the idea of going to heaven,
попасть в рай он отказался.
Он
От
сказал,
надежды
but not of the hope to get the Nobel Peace.
Получить Нобелевскую премию мира нет.
He didn't get it.
Он сказал, что он не ради
He said he isn't doing what he is doing
в рай
for the sake of going to heaven.
делает, соответственно, что он делает, как бы, вот, но
But this is more or less what will happen.
схема примерно будет следующая.
Катастрофическое
What? He will go to heaven according to this guy? A catastrophic earthquake might happen in the US.
землетрясение
This is all over the place. This is like a mumbo jumbo mess of news. Where are they when are they going to say that they understand Trump better than anybody?
может произойти в США. Издание
The New York Times writes that the
New
so-called
York Times сообщает, что всему виной так называемая
Cascadia subduction is to blame.
субдукция Каскади. Это тектоник
It's a tectonic
западного на Америке.
Of North America.
Он сам по себе
It might trigger an earthquake of magnitude 9.0.
может спровоцировать 9-бальное землетрясение, но
But what's even worse,
что еще способен вызвать
it might trigger aftershocks in the neighboring fault.
толчки в соседних разломах. По словам
According to scientists, these types of events
ученых, произошедшее
are recorded approximately once every 200 years.
фиксируют примерно каждые 200 лет. Первый толчок создаст
Earthquake will create a giant 24-meter tsunami waves.
гигантские 24-метровые волны цунами, которые обрушатся на западное побережье 8
It will be followed by an earthquake of a magnitude of 8.0. I'm not
бальной
sure why this intersection about the earthquake, to be honest with you. First, it was about Gaza. Then it just went on to talk about him not liking his picture because it was praised by the Times magazine. Then it went on about the tomahawks, very briefly about the tomahawks. Now it's about the earthquake. This is a very, very messy segment. It's a very messy news segment.
землетрясения в Калифорнии. Аналитические модели,
Analytical analysis, the damage from this earthquake
что ущерб от землетрясения может составить по меньшей
may amount to at least 200 billion.
мере 200 миллиардов долларов. Катастрофа
In its wake, this catastrophe may potentially leave
потенциально оставит после себя десятки
tens of
тысяч
thousands of dead
погибших
and
раненых.
undead. Why are they talking about this? Is this just a recap of all the news about the new United States?
Это произойдет. Вопрос только
It will happen. The only question is when.
когда.
Обнадеживающе.
Okay, that's cool.
Оптимистично.
Это правда. Наши
Yeah,
ученые только
Okay, our scientists always tell the truth. Good for them. Do they?
правду говорят. И молодцы.
Я понял, что Трамп
I understand that Trump cares about Russia.
Россия, и он действительно ставит
He
Россию
truly sees Russia not as a problem. I realize that. I realize that Trump basically sees Russia as a friend and an ally,
не проблемой, а частью решения
but as a part of a solution.
проблемы. Он хочет решения. Но вот
He
это
wants a solution.
другая чаша весов, о которой мы говорим,
But at the other end of the scale, we are discussing.
действительно, судя по всему, очень много каких
It looks like there are many advisors and puppeteers. Trump is being puppeteered.
советчиков, кукловодов, людей, которые
People who want somehow to reformat his mindset.
образом переформатировать его
So people that actually want him to support Ukraine and end the war and not just talk about ending the war. Endless phone calls with Putin, endless threats of consequences that never happen.
с вами не знаем, кто
We don't know who will shove what folder towards him and who will whisper something into his ear. Just see him as this demented old man that wavers like the wind, like grass in the wind.
для того, чтобы
So that this proverbial gun that is hanging on the wall
действительно сделать так, чтобы вот это вот ружье, которое висит на стене,
But listen, in this very segment, you said that it was going to be a symbolic number of tomahawks that was not going to change anything, and now you're worried about it as a proverbial gun that's hanging on the wall. Which is it? It cannot be both.
жанра.
According to the rules of the genre,
Трамп все-таки снял, и
Trump would take it off the wall and pulled the trigger.
и нажал на курок. А информационные томагавки
Info, tomahawks are flying even now, all the way.
сейчас вовсю. Я
I
парадоксально
will say something paradoxical and controversial. Okay.
спорную, но чем больше я
The
думаю
more I observe the situation,
над этой ситуацией, чем больше я наблюдаю за тем,
the more I see the way Trump communicates
как Трамп общается со своими, с позволения
with his
сказать,
European colleagues, so to speak,
европейскими коллегами. Вот сейчас был вот этот саммит мира.
at the peace summit that just took place.
Я прихожу к выводу, что
I came to the conclusion. Okay, what is the conclusion? I want to know what the conclusion is.
Россия может
Russia might be the only great country.
единственная великая
Okay, great country is I'm not sure if I would describe Russia as that, but whatever.
понимает
That
Трамп
understands Trump like no other country in the world. Maybe there's some similarity in mentality. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe it's just that Trump and Russia think on a similar wavelength. So they just understand each other very well inherently. That might have something to do with it.
как ни одна другая страна мира, понимает его
It
миссию.
understands his mission and respects him. Okay, what is Trump's mission again? Russia respects. That is not a very nice endorsement to say Russia understands Trump and his mission and respects him. I don't believe for a second, by the way, that Putin or Russia actually respect Trump, but
Его. Действительно
it's a country that understands
понимает, что пришел политик,
that
пришел
a politician, a leader has arrived.
лидер,
Really wants to make America great again. By destroying it. Like, yeah, the current government shutdown really shows that Trump wants to make America great again. The tariffs, the just, I don't know, flushing America's soft power down the toilet, that also makes America great again. All these things that make America simply great again.
хочет сделать Америку действительно великой, не
Not just as the writing on a hat,
надписи на шапке, вернуть
but to restore real American greatness, whatever that means, by the way.
вот это вот реальное американское
This
величие.
is the price of this issue for Trump.
И просто для Трампа, если он все-таки
If he
решит,
decides to do this, it's not just an escalation in Ukraine.
это эскалация на Украине.
How
Это
can it be an escalation if it's just a symbolic amount of missiles and they won't change anything? And doing away with Witkov's mission.
миссия
Oh, that's incompetent buffoon. Okay, Witkov is the worst thing that could have happened in these negotiations.
потеря
This would mean the loss of Russia's trust. Oh, that means so much. Russia's trust. Oh no. The loss of Russia's trust means so much.
доверия России со всеми вытекающими отсюда последствиями.
With all the following consequences. Okay, what are the consequences of losing Russia's trust?
Кнет, обрушит, обнулит
That will zero out all of his achievements. What did he achieve exactly when it comes to the war in Ukraine? Nothing. Trump has achieved nothing apart, again, from breaking Russia's political isolation
те достижения, которые
that we saw in Trump's peacekeeping.
мы увидим в творчестве Трампа.
What the hell was that? What the hell was that at the end? That was very strange.